Hello, and a warm welcome back to Talk Norwich City. Jack Reeve here, and delighted to be able to welcome Paul Machin from the Red Men TV today. It's Norwich against Liverpool on Saturday. It's the big one for Norwich City, the start of the Premier League campaign, and it doesn't get much bigger than this. 5:30 kickoff against Liverpool. Paul, delighted to have you on. What's been going on for the past 2 years since we last spoke?
Well, it went from being really good to really, really bad, almost in a very, very short thrift. You know, it took us a long time to climb that mountain to get back on top of the top. And then I honestly hoped we would stick around there a little bit longer than we did. But no, we had a fairly... I mean, look, this will fall on deaf ears, I'm sure, to most of the people watching here, but for me to sit here and complain about the third place finish in the Premier League. But yeah, it was not quite the season we were all really hoping for. It was a litany of just disasters that kind of struck Liverpool, from from injuries to people like close family members of important members of the squad losing their lives. So it was just it was a crap year that I'm quite happy to draw a line under, which I feel is very much at odds with your own sort of experiences of the last 12 months.
Absolutely. In terms of on the
football.
Pitch, though, in terms of on the pitch, it felt odd as a neutral watching Liverpool, because you think back to that game away at Crystal Palace. You thrash Crystal Palace. You're at the top of the division. And yet it all unravelled from there. Was it a sense of simply the injury crisis just taking its toll?
Yeah, it was mad. There was a point where we beat Tottenham. We went top, and we were top at Christmas, which is normally a reasonable barometer for how your season's going. In fact, the only team I think ever in Premier League history to not win the league when they were top at Christmas is Liverpool, and we've done it 3 times now. It felt like we were going okay, even though we had no Van Dijk by that point. Gomez was written out by that point. Matip was really struggling through, and we moved Fabinho to centre half, and we smashed Palace, and it looked like, okay, we'll get through Christmas. Thiago was coming back from injury, and it felt like we were turning a corner somehow. And then, no, we just absolutely hit a brick wall. And that was a Sam Allardyce-shaped brick wall dripping in gravy. And really, it was like he offered up a template for how to stop Liverpool, and everybody then grabbed onto that template. And it was a torrid from our perspective. January and February was an absolute nightmare.
Now, all Norwich fans will care about is of course this Saturday, how Liverpool are going into this game. It was well publicised, the defensive issues you had last season with the injuries to basically everyone, and it forced you to having Henderson and Milner in the back line. The goal scoring, as you just mentioned, was an issue as well. Salah and Mane and Firmino weren't necessarily firing on all cylinders like they have been in previous seasons. Mm-hmm. First of all, where are you at with injuries? Is Van Dijk back? What's the latest with Andy Robertson? And how's pre-season gone?
So let's tackle them in order. Van Dijk is back. He's played I think 3 pre-season games for us now. He did 20 minutes at the end of a game. Then he did 45, and then he's done 60 or 70. So he's gearing up. So if he was to start at the weekend, it wouldn't be a shock. Because I think he's getting closer and closer. I do feel it's probably a week too soon for him. So there's certainly that. Okay. Andrew Robertson is out. He rolled his ankle on Sunday. And he got a bit lucky by the looks of it. The general consensus is that he's done his ankle ligaments, but not severely. So it's probably looking at certainly this first run up until the international break. So probably the first 3 or 4 he's likely to miss. So that's a slight concern for us. And yeah, I guess. Sorry, what was the final thing? I'm so lost in Virgil van Dijk's talk.
No, the injuries first of all, because obviously if Van Dijk doesn't play and Robertson isn't playing, that's suddenly a whole different equation that Norwich are going up against. What have the vibes around pre-season been? Because obviously you finished third, the season ends well. Has that kind of continued? Is the momentum still there?
Yeah, I mean the problem with pre-season is we do this all the time, where if you're not perfect, you're not scoring 5 goals a game, people think there's something fundamentally wrong. Whereas, I'm of that generation where I remember never seeing preseason games, so I don't take them quite as seriously. But I think there's a section of everyone's fan base that do, because they're all, televised in one way or another these days, of course. So there was a little concern. But the beauty for us is that this is the first preseason really that I can remember, I think, since we bought Mane and Salah, that they've actually had a proper pre-season for us. They were in from day one, which never happens. There's always AFCONs or World Cups to keep them distracted. So yeah, we've had some of the main men who don't normally have that kind of build-up available. One or two maybe you come back, as mentioned, Gomez and Van Dijk have been slowly blooded back in as they're looking to get back up to match sharpness. Henderson only came back this weekend, so I don't think he'll be ready after being with the England squad. Of course, the Brazilians might be asked to go, so Firmino, it might be too soon for him, but I think Alisson and possibly Fabinho will just be thrown in. But the general feeling, I think it helps. Liverpool had 2 really upbeat home games at the weekend. We played Sunday, Monday back to back with 2 completely different 11s, both with 40,000 people in the stadium. So I think, although losing Robertson's a bit of a blow, and not winning that first game against Athletic Bilbao, the overriding consensus, I think everyone's quite happy, and all these fears around should Liverpool be signing people or not. I think everyone's seeing our squad's probably a bit better than maybe we've feared. So yeah, I think spirits are quite high.
With Norwich being so up and down, we kind of feel like we dip in and out of the Premier League, and it feels as if every time the transfer market goes up a notch every time. So it goes from £60 million players being signed to 80, now to 100. Where did Liverpool, because I was speaking to some Liverpool fans earlier in the week, and they were saying even you as a club don't feel as if you can compete with the likes of Chelsea and Man City financially in the transfer market now. I see you've signed Konate from RB Leipzig for £36 million. Has it been a little quieter than you were expecting?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, yes, from the perspective of it's a summer transfer window, and when Liverpool do more in summers than they do in January, certainly, and we have bought a lot of players in the past in the summers. Although we won the Champions League and basically added Adrian, and I think we bought Harvey Elliott that summer for £1 million or £2 from Fulham. So and then we went on and won the league. So it's not necessarily the end of things for Liverpool. But the issue we've got, and I think you're seeing this around Europe now, is that Liverpool don't have space in their squad to sign more players. Right. There's literally we can't register any more foreign players for our Premier League squad. So we would need probably another 2, and that you're looking at Shaqiri, probably. Divock Origi would be a potential there for one of those. I think if we did that, you might see one more come in. But that's the big issue we've got right now. And I don't think Liverpool are going to end up in a situation or allow themselves to be in a situation where, look at Ozil, was it last season? You lose track of the years, don't you? Where they couldn't register a guy who's effectively setting fire to money. And Liverpool are very much not run that. I know you were talking about how Norwich are built on a self-sustaining model. Well, Liverpool are too. Obviously, just a bit. The revenues are greater, so obviously it gives you a bit more financial clout. But that's the problem. You look at Man City, and they just. I'm wondering whether this is the summer where everyone realises City are a bit horrible. And it's a bit against the sort of like what we all kind of like about football. You got the FIFA generation who love the fact that they're nobody hates Man City because you hate one of Man City's rivals more than them, so they're the lesser of the evils. So I think they've had a bit of a pass for a while. So you hate Man United, you'd rather City win than see Man United win. You'd rather City win and see Liverpool win because there's a real antipathy towards those teams. But I wonder whether this is the one. If they go by Kane, I don't think Liverpool are never going to be able to compete with that. Never, ever, ever, unless they make a significant change to how you can invest in football clubs. And even then, I don't think we would. So it's disheartening. It creates a false expectation for what you should be doing in the transfer window. Whereas Liverpool are lucky. This is still the squad that won the league with 99 points. It's still the side that finished second the year before on 97 and won the Champions League. No one's past their best anymore, and we've actually added a few players, and the young players are a year better. So yeah, I think online, which is the worst place to follow football, unfortunately, with the present company and you said YouTube channel's not accepted, but like social media, you'd think it was a shitstorm. But I don't think Liverpool are too bad.
Absolutely. So take yourself back to when the fixtures are announced. You're sitting there waiting for the first opponent of the season. Norwich City get drawn. What's the mindset from a Liverpool fan coming up against Norwich? Because with a newly promoted side, we're always up and down. You've got an incredible record against us in the past decade. Is it as simple as, okay, that's the perfect start because we're likely to beat them, or is that kind of new team factor slightly worrying?
It's not the perfect start because we're not at home, and that might be so. It literally couldn't be, regardless of, this is not like looking for any disrespect towards Norwich at all. We were talking over on our channel about how you guys gave us a bloody nose for the first half an hour, I think, of the season last time around. You caught us a little flat-footed and could have actually got a little bit more out of that early doors. So I'm not. And for the factors we discussed as well, it's a mad world. I've just been to a pre-season friendly that had an atmosphere like a Champions League semi-final because it was the first time it was as close to full capacity as there's been in 18 months. You guys have just won the league and come up. Carrow Road's going to be a party, and you're going to have everything and also on top of that, just that all that pent-up frustration and love and all those great emotions that make football fandom in the ground so good. You've got all that to pour out. So a little part of me was like, Norwich, great. It's Norwich, Carrow Road. Like Liverpool should, in inverted commas, be winning that because, they should be. But that's not how football works, is it? You guys have got, I can see the seeds for how this ends up being, how Norwich could get something from this game without a doubt, because, that's the magic of football. You've got a lot of really brilliant, football romance things on your side for this game.
Absolutely. So come on then, what's the prediction for Saturday? The late kickoff. It's the first time back in grounds for many people. How are you feeling?
I'm so excited for it. I'm ready now. I think I've actually had a proper rest as well for the first time in about 3 seasons because of how it's just gone on and on and on more than normal. I'm feeling really positive about Liverpool's chances this season. And when you look at our opening fixtures, opening threes, yourselves away, then we've got Burnley and Chelsea at home. After that, if Liverpool get 9 points, I think that sets a real marker down for how the league's going to sort of progress. I think we've got a better chance. I fancy our chances. Again, this looks like a banana skin just because, as I say, those are the factors. We've got to go into a hostile environment. We haven't done that. We haven't done that in a while, and I can't sit here and say the Liverpool atmosphere contributes towards us winning big games against Barcelona and then go and somehow scoff and say that your atmosphere can't possibly have a positive impact on the game. So no, I'm confident. I think Liverpool will win. I think if we need to ride out that first 45 minutes, and I think we need to dominate and we need to assert ourselves and we need to get on the ball and we need to get back to what we do, which is create our own cauldron of atmosphere in how we play football and look to wear you down, and then just look to ebb away that initial sort of euphoria that you guys are going to have for being in the ground. And if we can do that, then I think we'll win. But if you guys do a bit of a blitzkrieg thing early doors and we haven't quite found ourselves, then it could be a little bit of an upset.
There we go. I cannot wait for it. And we've also filmed some content over on the Redmen TV, myself and Paul talking about things from more of a Norwich perspective. So the link to that will be in this description. Paul, I hope you have a wonderful season. And I'm sure we'll speak again very soon for the return fixture at Anfield. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Thank you. No problem at all.